What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Cam.
We are here once again, Griff. The year's almost over with, but that does not mean we don't have some fights to get into. UFC 282 is gone and passed and out the window.
Yeah, it's gone. It came and it went.
It came and it went, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't a bad card. It could have been better. Obviously, some injuries that we talked about going into the recap show to Yari Prochazka, Glover Teixeira not being on there. There were some fights taken off. There were some fights we thought we were going to get a certain light heavyweight champion coming back. We're not going to get into it again because clearly you missed the reference last time. Taking on another former heavyweight champion. We thought, okay, let's go this particular route. That didn't happen, but the card on paper, okay, it looked pretty good. The main event, though, Jan Blachowicz, former lightweight champion, taking on Magomed.
Come on, brother. We went over this. Uncle Ayev.
It keeps throwing me off the way I see the spelling because I hear how you say it, but when I see it, I'm just like Anakalevi. But Uncle Ayev, ends in a split decision draw. Griff, the title is still held by Vacant, who is undefeated, by the way. What do you make of the main event going to a draw?
I think it strengthens the argument for those out there that say the light heavyweight division might be cheeks. All right, not very good.
No, at the moment.
It's interesting watching the fight. I personally thought it was a good fight. I love the dynamic of it. I love that Jan came out and the older fighter, and they were saying it on the broadcast too. Jan Blachowicz is not a young man by any means.
No, age-wise, yeah, but as far as physically and as far as how he conducts himself, he takes care of himself very well.
He takes care of himself, but the thing is, people give all the credit in the world to Glover Teixeira for being that old man who went and got the belt. But Jan Blachowicz isn't that much younger than him. He's 39, all right? And he comes in those first 3 rounds, he couldn't close the distance with a 30-year-old younger Uncle Ayev. So what does he do? He goes for the leg kicks. He beats the living hell out of that.
Chop the tree down.
Chop that tree down, all right? He hit that right leg, and he was hitting it again and again and again. And there was Uncle Ayev, who people see that he's Dagestani, and they misinterpret it. That man is a striker. That man is straight up, I want to box, I want to touch it real nice in the face. Yeah. That's what his game. But that wasn't happening because Jan, who has been in this moment before, he's been in title fights. He knew he couldn't close the distance with Jan. He couldn't get up to him, but Jan was still finding ways to get those leg kicks and cause damage. And it went all the way into the 3rd round, and then the 3rd round, he gets the left one. That boy was shaking. His legs were shaking. He took a minute when he hit him with that left kick. Oh my God. Uncle Ayev had this look on his face where he was like, he
was like, I might need to tap.
I might not be done. I might not be a champion. This might not happen.
I might need to tap out the leg kicks. Okay, these kicks are not fun.
I need you to stop kicking me in my leg.
brother, can we, it's mixed martial arts. Mix it up because these kicks are killing me.
I love that aspect of it. And then right when it seemed like the fight was over, Uncle Ayev pushes him up against the fence, starts grappling. 180s it. And then for the last 2 rounds, he dominates Jan in the grappling game. He brings back that Dagestani love, that Dagestani passion. He said, nah, let's grapple, brother. Let's wrestle, brother. Let's wrestle. And he goes, and it seemed like when the fight was over, it seemed like a lot of people, all the broadcasters, everyone I was talking to, everyone thought that it was going to be, everyone thought Uncle Ayev did enough to get the win.
Even Jan.
Yeah, even
you
Jan.
See, before they made the announcement, he has his head down. He puts his hand towards him. Afterwards, he goes up to Uncle Ayev, says, hey, man, you should be the champion, etc. You know, it's one thing when the fans thinking, hey, this guy should have won. But when your opponent walks over and says, hey, man, you should have won the fight, that speaks volumes to, I mean, clearly, he had a front row seat to everything. He had the most exclusive scene that you could see there. It was an interesting dynamic in how you broke it down. Stand up going to the older vet, the grappling going to the younger bull. In the end, the judges were kind of torn on it, and it's unfortunate because this is a title fight. We have 5 rounds to try to avoid the nonsense of draws. You know, when it's a 12-round boxing match or a 10-rounder in non-title fights, that could lead to a draw, 5-5, 6-6. 5 rounds. Griff, last I checked, 5 rounds. If you win 2, the other guy won 3. Right?
That's some good math. Yeah, I think that adds up.
I thought it was good math. But somehow these guys didn't see it that way. Clearly, we saw on Dana White's face there was some frustration. I think the frustration was also just for the fact I don't have a champion right now. The champion I do have, he's out on the shelves with that shoulder injury for who knows how long.
Yeah.
But I don't have a champion right now. A division is not good if it doesn't have a champion. It's one thing to have a champion and then we have an interim title.
Right.
But to try to put the main title on there. Now, I would argue this. I felt that Ankalaev should have did more in the last 2 rounds to try to go for the finish. Even if you don't succeed, go for the finish. You pointed out, I just got destroyed these first 2.5, 3 rounds by these leg kicks. I could barely stand. I'm going to the grappling department. I'm trying to submit you. I'm gonna try to ground and pound you. I'm gonna try to beat your tail. I'm gonna try to smash you into the ground. As much as he controlled him, I didn't feel a sense of urgency for Ankalaev, and that brings me to my point. Do you think there should be open scoring in combat sports? Because we'll get into it on the co-main event as well, because we saw some questionable judging. But when you see this, if it's an open scoring system, now I can see as an opponent, am I up? How far am I behind? Do I actually need to go in and get a finish this last round? Or do I need to just cruise and stay away from the danger? Or are we this close where it's like, hey man, I gotta bite down this mouthpiece and try to go for it? Which one is it? If it's open scoring, there's no questions behind it. But if not, now it's up to interpretation. You see a fight, I see a fight. We've watched plenty of fights, Griff. You saw it one way, I've seen it another way. Judges are the same way.
Right.
Open scoring system eliminates the confusion. You and I both know what needs to happen going into each and every round.
Well, I mean, you think there isn't already kind of a little bit of open scoring already? You think that, I mean, every time we get the little, what is it? The recording when the fighters go back to their corner and their coaches are talking and we get to hear what they're saying. How many times have we heard their coaches saying, you're up, you're down, you need to knock him out this round, you knock him out now, or you don't have a home. They tell the fighter's not oblivious completely to what the score is.
Oh, I beg to differ.
To an extent.
And even the corners too, because you got to think, I'm trying to motivate you.
Right.
So even if I clearly see you can, hey man, you need to go out there and finish him. Well, you're winning. I got to keep you confident. Can you imagine going back to a corner and say, hey Griffin, you just got your ass kicked. You've been getting your butt whooped all night, okay? You suck.
Did we not get the greatest moment of this year when Leon Edwards went to his corner? His coach was saying, "What's the matter with you? You need to get this out of the fire."
But that's because you understand. In watching that fight, Leon was not winning. Yeah. Like in that one, it's a clear indication I'm not winning this fight. Same thing with Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva. Silva was not winning the fight, but if it's a close fight, back and forth, maybe you won the first round, maybe I didn't. Maybe you won the third round, maybe I did. But if we go into it now, we know you're up.
Right.
I need to finish. You're up 2 rounds. I need to finish you in the last round, as opposed to me thinking, well, the first round was close, and I won the second round. I'm up. In actuality, you're up 2-0. I'm thinking it's 1-1. Two different mindsets.
I mean, I think it would help. It would definitely make a difference in fights that are definitely close, especially in a title fight if it's 2-2 going into the 5th. But I mean, if you're a guy like if you're Kamaru Usman to get in that Leon Edwards fight this year, Usman knew he was winning. Yeah. Edwards knew he was losing. All right. And it may have an effect on these close fights. But then again, you run the risk of these fighters who might be up 3-1 going into the 5th round. And we're talking just title fights. This could be for any type of bout.
No, any fight.
Yeah, but you got situations where the fighter could be up 3-1, and then the 5th round comes around, and this is probably the idea. This is probably the mindset of Dana and all the heads of the UFC. We don't want guys coasting. We don't want guys thinking, "Oh, I have this in the bag. I'm just gonna run and dance my little ass around this octagon." No, they say they want it to be. They want the fighters to be oblivious to where they're at. They know their coaches are at least giving them a little bit of hint. And yeah, nobody can read the minds of the judges and tell them what the actual score is, but I just don't think it has that big of an impact. I really don't. I think keep it the way it is, but hey, maybe get better judging, maybe more accountability on the judges' part, because Dana, I think out of everything, we all saw what he looked like, how he was at the end of, or in that post-fight press conference. He was red as a cherry. My boy looked like the red Sour Patch Kid. Right?
And that's not because he was at the beach getting his suntan on.
No, he was pissed.
You know who would have liked the open scoring system?
Who?
The co-main event, Jared Gordon.
He would.
Loses by decision, unanimous decision to Patty Pimblett, who, don't get me wrong, Patty is a fantastic personality, tremendous fighter, has a very large fan base that's growing and growing. He's a lot of fun to watch. I love his mindset. the words, the inspiration, the quotes, the mindset that he has when he's giving the interviews and things that he speaks on. He talks about men's mental health because he lost somebody and all this. Guess what? You love it. But in that particular fight, Patty won unanimous decision. If Gordon realizes he's down 2-0, that third round, he doesn't hold him up against the fence. Now, granted, the referee should have been breaking it up, I feel, at times, because you're not doing anything. But Gordon doesn't try to coast and just say, well, I got 2 in the bag. Let me just go ahead and hold him up against the fence, do a little dirty boxing, this and that. No, I'm down 2-0. What the heck? Now you get that Leon Edwards moment. You get that Alex Pereira moment where I know I got to go in here and finish you off in 5 minutes. But without the open scoring, I coast that way. Now, I give you a lackluster third round. Then when the decision comes, I'm sitting there with my hands up thinking I won, I beat the hype train, I derailed it. Wait, what? And then you get all the questions. Ooh, did the UFC make sure Patty wanted to win? He's a rising star. He's this, he's that. But guess what? The biggest star, your boy, he's lost. Ronda Rousey has lost. Excuse me. Sean O'Malley, Sugar Sean O'Malley. Lost. His hype train got derailed before he became the #1 contender. So no, it's not necessarily that the UFC is trying to do this. This is not boxing, okay? But if it's an open scoring system, now you know what you have to do when you go into these rounds that could be into these last rounds when the fight could be close. You know Izzy was beating Alex Pereira. You knew Usman was beating Leon Edwards. But in some of these other matches, like we brought up here with Pat, you don't know how you scored it. Again, you might have saw the first round for Patty. I might have saw the second round for Jared. Guess what? Going into there, they're 1-1, 2-0. Either way, the fighters know what needs to be done.
In that fight, let's say there was open scoring between Patty and Gordon. If he had open scoring, and we're going into the third round, and he's able to see on some big old, the LED screen saying, oh, what the score was after those 2 rounds, Gordon would be pissed because that unanimous decision at the end was bull. That was a crook, a robbery. Yeah. All right. If there was open scoring, he would have seen that and been like, it doesn't matter what I do. They're going to give it to this Ellen DeGeneres looking dude. All right. They're going to give him this goddamn win. I can't do anything about it.
Yes, you can.
What?
Go in there and finish his ass.
I guess.
You got the left hand like Alex Pereira. You got the left head kick like Leon Edwards. Go in there and finish him. Go in there now and go out there and put a beating on him. Now you know I have to finish him. Submission, KO, TKO, tap out, tickle him to death, whatever you got to do. You go. That would be interesting. Is tickling illegal in mixed martial arts?
It should be. If it isn't, it should be.
It really should be. I've never seen it, but that would be a hell of a defense.
If I have a grown man trying to tickle me, I think I'm more scared than if he's trying to kill me.
I don't mean to get you off the track here, but could you imagine being like in a grappling and you can't get from under him and you're just like, man, and you start tickling him on the you're like, hey man, stop that.
I think that's how they wrestle over in the cells in federal prison, right? I don't like that kind of fighting. I don't like that style.
That is true, because tickling does. In fact, we're going to get off that right now. But the open scoring system, I think, will be beneficial for all these fights. It would allow Ankalaev to understand where he stood in that fight, how close it was. It would allow Gordon to know where he stood in that fight. Many other fights that we've seen that were very close, we would have been able to have the fighters know what needs to be done going into this last round, as opposed to you feeling confident, your corner telling you, because look, as much as the corner is there to motivate you, the corner is also at times delusional, or they subconsciously are like, no, what I just saw, my guy's winning, he's moving forward, he's initiating the action. Or if my guy's countering, hey, my guy's more accurate, my guy landed more strikes, yeah, but he's not pushing the pace, he's not landing the bigger blows. How many times do we see guys try to get cheap takedowns? You just take a guy down, but you don't advance anything. And you hear now in the commentary how they say the judges don't score that necessarily as a takedown if you can't control them or do some type of damage. If you just get a quick takedown, there's no points for you there. But we saw for a long time guys would just do that to try to rack up points because I got a takedown. Actuality, open scoring will show, yeah, but you didn't get that as much as you thought you did. So yeah, I really do believe, as much as this sport has been growing, that is the next evolution. It was separated from boxing and would definitely give, I believe, some excitement, because in these close fights, we all don't know how it's going to go. The fighters now know, and now we know. Ooh, he's down 3-1. He's got to come out swinging.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe open scoring is the future. Maybe it will solve a lot of problems. I mean, they use the grading score that they use in boxing in MMA. How about we fix that first? That's ridiculous.
That is true. I'm all with you there, Griff.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot of things that need to be fixed. But I think
the gloves. The gloves need to be fixed to prevent eye pokes. I mean, I don't understand what the deal is with the UFC. Did we not see Pride FC for all those years in the mid 2000s? Their gloves were built to where your fingers couldn't extend all the way. And they still submitted people. Oh yeah, they still submitted people. So it's not going to hinder you from grappling. We've had fighters such as Rashad Evans, Trevor Whitman, the trainer. They've come out with their own gloves to try to say, hey, this could be a beneficial glove to use so that it can prevent eye pokes. Too many times, the groin kicks, you can't get away from that. It's just part of it's going to happen. The eye pokes, we can get away from that though. The John Jones, Daniel DC defense of putting your finger straight out there, we can get away from that if they aren't allowed to extend it. At least then it's just your knuckles or anything like that going forward. So you're right. There's a lot that the UFC needs to improve on. Gloves, open scoring, the scoring system itself. It's tough. It's frustrating. It's tough. It's a lot.
It's a lot. There's a lot to fix. But then again, when you have a product that's as successful as the UFC,
of course,
that brings in the money, the views, produces the stars and everything, it's kind of hard to tweak that. Want to mess with it. If it ain't broke, why fix it?
Oh, trust me, brother. It ain't. Look, you can always make improvements. There's a reason why the late great Kobe Bryant kept working on this game. There's a reason why LeBron and Tom Brady have been able to play 20 plus years. Cristiano Ronaldo doing what he's doing. You can always fine tune the machine. The better upgrade you keep it, the longer it can last. It's going to keep growing. People aren't going to, like Dana White always says, people love fighting. That's one thing we all have in common, regardless of the language we speak, the color of our skin, where we come from, what God we pray to. We all love fights, and that's what makes it so entertaining. Doesn't mean some rules can't be tweaked.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Speaking of tweaking, Dana White shot this rumor down. But Griff, I'll tell you what, I was so ready to send you this and say RIP. If your boy, Conor McGregor, was to come back, was being capitalized. Dana White just said, he did not confirm, because he denied that this is going to be the matchup. He just said right now it would be a fun idea if Michael Chandler was the one to welcome him back. I got to say this to you, Griff. Unless Michael Chandler, and we haven't seen it, unless Michael Chandler gets frozen on the big stage, under the bright lights, across from the champ. He gonna put your boy to sleep. Faster than ZQL. That's faster than a Xanax. He's gonna put him to sleep. Night. You ever been night? Michael Chandler will put Conor McGregor to night. I will bet if that fight gets made, I'm putting money on Michael Chandler via KO.
Well, RIP to your parlay then, brother. I don't respect your parlay when you make bets like that. People seem to freaking forget. Yes, the last time we saw the man, he did not get a win. But you know what? I'm here to say right here, right now, Griffin Kemp right here saying he didn't get a loss either. The ankle, the doctor's stoppage, all right? There's a lot of things. Here's the thing. Last night on UFC 282 on Saturday in Las Vegas, how many times did the freaking, whether it was a fighter making a reference, we had Rosas Jr. saying 50 G's, Dana, 50 G's. The whole sport is clamoring for this man to come back. The entire sport is begging.
Are you really begging? Are you gonna put the? Whoa! Hold on, Griff, because I want to give you your time to talk too.
Yeah.
Are you really gonna sit here and say? Let me turn to you. Are you really gonna sit here and say that fighters asking for the bonus money is because of Conor McGregor?
When they say it like that, when they try to have a little, they have a little bit of an Irish accent to them. Yeah, they're quoting. They are quoting.
I don't want to be mean to the kid because he's a senior in high school. He's got a lisp.
He's got a lisp.
He's got a lisp. Come on, Griff. But that's not. I won't. Don't do that, Griff.
But he had beautiful Celtic. That Celtic accent he used.
You really gonna sit here and say that you heard a Celtic accent?
There's so many reps. They are clamoring for this man to come back so bad. Even the fans, even you haters out there. I'm looking at you. I see you on the Twitter and the Instagram. Y'all want Gregor back. Everyone needs him back. And that's the thing. Win, lose, draw, it don't matter. The entire sport wants Conor back. And when it comes to Michael Chandler, all right? Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor, I effing love it. I would love to see it. Not because I'm overly confident Conor's going to beat him. I'm definitely overly confident he ain't going to starch him. Michael Chandler ain't going to starch Gregor. That ain't happening.
He gets him out in a round and a half.
A round and a half.
I'm taking under 2.
Oh, baby.
I'm taking under 2.
Well, we can make a little friendly wager when that happens. Hey, when it announces, we'll make the wager right here.
We'll make it right here, and we'll make it official because that's an American hero you're talking about right there.
American hero.
American hero right there.
American hero went out like that against Gaethje. He went out like that against Oliveira. He went out like that.
First off, that's a hell of a war that him and Gaethje went through. One war that we know your boy couldn't stand up to.
Says who?
Has he ever?
Has he ever gone through a war?
Like that.
Are you?
No. Who?
Have you seen? It didn't last as long. It was over in the second round. Did you not see Conor McGregor versus Chad Mendes? That was the most beautiful fight I've seen. All right, that's my favorite Conor McGregor fight. That man was in war. That man was having his head bashed.
It was a great fight, but Mendes was taking him down the whole time. Those two guys, Chandler and Gaethje, stood toe to toe and went at it. They threw nothing but bombs, nuclear weapons, AK-47s, grenades, C4s. It was like a scene from Call of Duty Warzone. They were just throwing it all at each other. And guess what? The better man that night was left standing. What happened when Poirier and McGregor went to war? The second time, not the leg break, the second time.
He got slept.
I'm not talking about sleeping a guy like how he did Aldo. I'm talking about when it's a back and forth war. McGregor starched guys for sure. Don't get me wrong.
Made a business of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to take that away from him like you do other fighters because I'm not disrespectful like you.
Okay.
But when he's been in constant battles, even the second time even the first time he fought Nate Diaz, Diaz caught him, he withered. The second, did he not tap out after he got hit with that left and he was all shaking and like Nate Diaz said, "Oh, you're a wrestler now."
Yeah,
then in the second,
got him on that one.
Then in the second fight, they were going to war. Now he did a better game plan in the second fight, but even you got to admit there was definitely that midway point where you started to think that gas tank is going. That leg ain't standing up right.
Absolutely.
He's starting to wither.
You're talking about the second Diaz and Conor fight, yes?
Yeah, the second one.
That was a beautiful one. That was a perfect example.
It was tremendous.
That was a perfect example of Conor McGregor seeing war.
And
He's been war tested.
Anybody with punching power that could bust a great, because Nate Diaz does not. He does not have that type of punching power. The Diaz brothers are what do you call it? They swarm you. It's
swarm.
They swarm you with the
slap.
They don't come in with heavy powers. If that's Poirier, well, we saw the second time he put Conor made him into a meat.
Okay, what happened with
Jake Gowda? Gaethje will put him to sleep. Chandler will put him into another universe.
He will put him to sleep. He will put
Gaethje and Chandler will put him into another galaxy.
All this what could have happened. Why don't we see what happens? You're saying what happened. You're saying what happened with Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier. What happened with Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler got in there? Did Michael Chandler get the win? Did he get the win? Did he get the win
against Dustin Poirier?
Did Michael Chandler get the win?
No.
Exactly.
Was it a war though?
Was it a back and forth war? I'd say it was a good fight. It was definitely a war.
Poirier, Gaethje, Chandler. I strongly believe this. Those three can fight each other in a rotation.
Yeah.
It will go back and forth every time. Poirier might be overall the better fighter because I believe he has wins over both of them now.
I'd put Poirier over both.
So Poirier could be number one, but it's not like he's way up here and those guys are down here. It is close. It's not like he starched those guys. Maybe his game plan was better and he was able to execute it. He went to war with those guys. McGregor ain't going to war with neither one of those three. He fights either one of those three less than 2 rounds. Doesn't make it to the third round.
We can sit here and put our freaking pajamas on, brother. We can make our little predictions, but here's the thing. All that is fact and that we can say for certain right now.
That McGregor is 1-2 against Poirier.
That Conor McGregor
may not come back.
That is a possibility. He may not come back. But here's another true, honest to God fact.
Give it.
This whole sport needs him. This whole sport wants him. They say what's that quote from what is it? Scarface. Yeah, y'all need me. Y'all need. I'm the bad guy. Y'all point your finger and say that's the bad guy. They need him. All right, he's coming back. I hope he comes back.
That's a good one.
I would love to see the man come back. We'll see what happens. Him and Michael Chandler, I think that's a beautiful pairing. I think that right there, that's what it's going to be.
If things can unfold that way, that would be beautiful. Speaking of what would be beautiful, to end the year, we got one more fight card, UFC Fight Night. That is going to be going down in the main event. Jared Cannonier taking on Sean Strickland. Ooh. 2 heavy hitters right here. 2 guys who are right there on the cusp. Jared Cannonier, last time out, was challenging for the title. Not the greatest performance, but you got to admit, it was his first time in there. He even admitted, I kind of got starstruck under the moment. Sean Strickland thought he was going to maybe get in there for the title. He got starched by the now current champion Alex Pereira. Putting these two together, if either one of these guys can put on an excellent performance and get a exciting win, their name could be next in the middleweight division for a title shot, possibly after Izzy gets his rematch. It's going to be wide open, or at least the next opponent could be someone like Derek Brunson, who I believe is on like a 3, 4, 5 fight win streak. You put the winner of this against Derek Brunson for the number one contender.
Yep,
we got something cooking next year.
Middleweight's heating up.
It's
heating up. As trash as the light heavyweight division looks right now, the middleweight division looks just as good.
It's sizzling right now.
They're just killers.
Nothing but straight up assassins.
Murders. I mean,
it should be
everywhere
illegal.
you look. I mean, look what happened with in UFC 282. I forget his name. Who fought Darren Till? That cat, like his grappling was ridiculous. And yes, Darren Till, everyone has their thoughts about him that he's been
Drickus do
Places, I think. He looked phenomenal. Another great
absolute war that they win in. Absolute war that they win in.
It's I love the middleweight division right now.
185 is definitely a lot of fun.
Sean Strickland in this fight, he needs to have some redemption.
I think both guys do.
They both do, but on Sean Strickland's side, I just feel it was almost pure ignorance for him to go in there thinking he could go toe-to-toe in striking with Alex Pereira. Even though Alex Pereira is an unknown commodity, he was an unknown commodity at that time. We didn't know that much about him. We knew a little bit. We didn't know his game like that. And so when he came in, Sean Strickland, it seemed like he was trying to go and, trade paws with him. But that was dumb. He is a straight wrestler. If he wants to win,
it's only dumb if it doesn't work.
And it didn't work, did it?
It didn't work, but you know what? You gotta give him credit. He went out there and tried it. Sometimes
try wrestling. Hold on. Grapple, man.
This is true. I don't want to get too much into it.
Okay.
One of John Jones. Who? John Jones. One of his strategies is, I'm going to attack you the way that you fight, because you won't expect that. You're going to expect me to grapple with you if you're a striker. If you're a striker, if you're a grappler, you're going to expect me to strike with you. I'm going to go in your direction, hence why he's been able to get a whole lot. But we can dive more into that into the next show as we wrap up 2022. It is coming fast and furious, my man.
It's a good year, baby.
As always, another great show. Thank you guys for tuning in here to the main event. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griff and Kemp.
You guys be sure to follow us again right here on Franchise Sports Media. Till next time, fight fans. Peace.